The leader of the NPP in Parliament now is a seasoned lawyer. He voted for it. The leader of the minority in Parliament voted for it. All NPP MPs voted for the bill. And so, this bill is one that reflects the will of the people of this country by way of their representations. Now, having done all of this, the constitutional provision requires that the bill so passed is transmitted to you, the president. And after that, if you have any reservation, the constitution provides what you should do.
So referring to Article 106, 7 to 10.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if you look at the 1992 Constitution, I think the framers of the Constitution possibly realized that we're going to have a president like Akufo-Addo, and therefore provided a mechanism, if he has any misgivings, what he should do. Our president, together with his secretary, decided to do contrary to what the law says. Now, what is in Article 106? Article 106, 7. For the purpose of this discussion, let me just read it. It says, where a bill passed by Parliament is presented to the President for assent. So here, the transmission mechanism is the presentation. For the President shall signify within 7 days after it is presented to him, after the presentation, to the Speaker that he assent to the bill, or he refuses to assent to the bill unless the bill has been referred to the President by the President to the Council of State under Article 90 of the Constitution. That is what the Constitution says. Randy, where in this Article 103, 106, 7, 8, and 9, up to 10, does it give the executive secretary to the president, whoever he is, the authority, the mandate to write back to Parliament, almost threatening Parliament what it should do? I mean, this level of impunity, it is this level of impunity and arrogance that got X onto the face of the president in the manner in which he dismissed Domelevo. It was the same Bedietu on this same green paper that he communicated.
I remember the response to Domelevo.
Yes.
About how he's not a lawyer.
He is not a lawyer, and he is.
Yes.
That level of arrogance, that level of impunity, where, I mean, look, for God's sake, I used to practice with my senior Bedietu. In fact, we did a matter together. He was for a human rights action. I mean, where from this arrogance? You see, President Kufuor had this saying. He said, power can trick you. And as a young politician, I've written it as like on a tablet. He said, power can trick you. Mr. Bedietu, I mean, you could have communicated whatever misgivings to Parliament in a more decorous, decent manner than this one that makes you look like you are the.
Now let me ask you.
You are the spokesperson of the village.
Let me ask you.
That's not what you are.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, you are the lawyer here, and of course, the lawyers who are watching us. On the basis of what 106, 7 to 10 says, and on the basis of all that, if you check the publications today, you see the focus is on it is the AG who advised the president not to assent. Now, does the 7 to 10 of the 106 not then suggest that what President Akufo-Addo should have done
receive it
was to have received it and then communicated to either Parliament or the Council of State or something that I have received this advice from the Attorney General, and on the basis of this advice, I'm unable to assent to the bill and to the determination of the matter. Whether Parliament agrees with you or not, or whether the Council of State agrees with you or not, you would have acted in conformity with the Constitution. I'm saying this because, obviously, on the issue of who determines the financial implications of a private member's bill, as we speak, there is a disagreement between the President and the Speaker. So let me say the Executive and Parliament. There is. But at least the President went through what 1067-10 says to communicate his position on the matter to Parliament. Whether Parliament agrees with the grounds for the President's conclusion is another matter. But he would have gone through the constitutionally laid out process to communicate that disagreement.
You see, Randy, you see the reason why the President cannot go on that line is that this bill had the input of the President's Attorney General.
No, but I'm saying that to the extent that the Attorney General's advice is not about the contents of the bill. It's not about the actions of the applicant or plaintiff suggesting that things were violated human rights. That's not it. What I've read so far suggests that the AG believes that to the extent that somebody has gone to court or some persons have gone to court and that he, the AG, has been served, his advice to the President is that stay off until the determination of that. So that I'm saying that on that leg, you see, whether you agree that it is substantial or not, for me, it's another matter.
No, you see, Randy, I agree perfectly with you. You see, the transmission of the bill so passed to the President is a constitutional process. Yes. So the framers of the Constitution use presentation to the President for his assent. Now, the framers of the Constitution anticipated that there may be a situation where, by way of a private member bill like what we have, the President may have reservation relative to the law, may have a constitutional basis to say that I will not put my signature under this particular bill so passed. So the Constitution then provided the mechanism, if the President so decides, that he's not going to assent to this, what he should do. Now, we have not even gotten to the point where the President will even take a decision that I want to sign or I do not want to. But you see, something betrays the President. On the 4th of March, when he met the diplomatic community, he then gave an indication what his body language is going to be relative to this law when he met the diplomats. In that particular conversation, the President referenced a pending suit. That's the 4th of March. At the time when the President spoke, right, there was no suit. In fact, the only pending suit was the one filed by this Dr. Odoe something. The lady. However, the lady had applied much earlier for an interlocutory injunction, even to restrain Parliament and the Speaker, and same was dismissed. So as at the time, the 4th of March, the only matter pending was for that lady. There was no restraining order against the President or any authority. So, what informed the President? It was the next day, the 5th of March, that Richard Delasky issued his writ. Did the President know about Richard Delasky's suit? Is Richard Delasky an agent provocateur or a surrogate of the President to provide him the pretext not to sign? Now, even curiously, Randy, I was the lawyer for the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, then minority leader, Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, and Mahama Yariga, when we challenged the passage of the e-levy law before the Supreme Court. When we went to the Supreme Court, at least there was a pending suit. The matter was in the Supreme Court. It was transmitted, the bill so passed, was transmitted to the president while the suit was pending. Within this period, Mr. Akufo-Addo assented to the bill. So this whole claim that because there is a pending suit, his attorney general has advised him. In fact, when I moved the application for injunction, it was Godfrey Adami who opposed it. Prior to that, the president had assented to the law while the matter was pending. So it cannot be the case that the settled practice is that when there is a pending matter, your hands are stayed. The president's own conduct demonstrates either hypocrisy or duplicity. Either way, clearly showed the president that a man who had obtained a certain dubious distinction, that somebody without principle. Because what was the principle relative to the e-levy? When the matter was pending and you proceeded to assent to it, how different is it from this particular law? In any case, in the e-levy law, it was a one-sided MPP MPs who passed it. In fact, they brought the Honorable Kojokum in his state to come and assist. This one, it had a bipartisan support. So even between the two, which one should the president demonstrate that alacrity is in assenting to it? Obviously, the one with the bipartisan support. But today, conveniently, the president is telling us that because there's a pending suit, I strongly believe that this letter from Bediatu is just to please the IMF boss that was in the country. Look, I have said this, that President Akufo-Addo had a glorious opportunity to assert the independence of this country. But it does appear that our president sees himself as the president of the 51st state of the United States of America. Because his conduct, beyond insulting Parliament as an institution, also shows a certain character who is not interested in advancing the independence of this country. Look, when his finance minister wrote that letter to him, that, oh, Mr. President, when you are sent to this, we have the risk or potential risk of losing ABC, the amount of money. Randy, on the 6th of March, the IMF concluded a fifth review of Uganda's IMF program. And after the review, advanced $182 million to Uganda. Zambia, the same thing. Question. The Zambian law on this sexuality, whatever, right, is even death penalty, depending on how aggravated is it. So even if the question or the challenge is about custodian sentence, the IMF, look at their treatment of Uganda. They are into business. They need their money. And so nothing, absolutely nothing, precluded the president. It was obviously red herring by the finance minister, Amin Anta. And I find it extremely curious. Amin Anta is a practicing Muslim. The last time I checked. He is the representative of a predominantly Muslim community, Karaga. How in God's name would he read Surah 7 verses 80 to 84, where the Holy Quran absolutely forbids this conduct, and go back to his community in Karaga and say that I was among the MPs who passed it, but subsequently I had a change of mind. So I'm telling the president not to assent. How is he going to tell his constituents? And that is why some of us have said, look, it's important that we hear Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's view about this critical matter. We need to. A man who says he wants to lead this country, a predominantly Muslim and Christian country, the Bible does not support it. The Holy Quran does not. In fact, if you read the Quran, how it describes the thing that happened to the people of Lot, it is there. So, Dr. Mahmoud Ba, and Randy, let me make the point. Look, from 2008, when Mr. Akufo-Addo first brought him onto the political conversation till date, he's never stated his position on this vast issue. whether recorded video or written text, no such. It's important that we know that as the running mate, then running mate, now flag bearer of the MPP, this is my position on this vast cultural and religious matter.